In this video, I'm going to show you how you can get thousands of free leads and send them personalized messages with AI completely automatically. And for this, we're going to be using three different software. First, we're going to be using Rapid API to obtain all the email. Then we're going to be using Airtable to store all the different leads. And last, we're going to use Make.com to build the scenarios that is going to send the personalized email. So as you can see in the process, there is going to be a total of 7 different steps. And the first step that we need to do is basically go to this link over here and subscribe to this endpoint URL that we have. And if you don't know about this platform that we have here, it's Rapid API and it's very similar to Apify. And indeed, I like it way more because in Apify you need to pay from the very beginning if you want to use the actors. And Rapid API is also a marketplace with hundreds or thousands of endpoints that you can send requests to, but with the difference that you don't need to subscribe to those endpoints, and most of them have very generous tiers. And the endpoint that we're going to use in this case is this one that we have over here that is called local business data, okay? And don't worry because you're going to have the link to this one. So the first thing that we need to do is to go to change your plan and then basically subscribe to the basic plan. As you can see here, we have 500k requests per month. And as you can see, this free tier that we have over here is very generous, and probably we're not going to need to use anything else, okay? What we're going to do is to go to this search in area endpoint URL, okay? And here we're going to go to the parameters tab. And as you can see, we're going to have different parameters. We're going to have query, we're going to have the latitude, the longitude, the zoom, the limit, and basically some other parameters that are going to be important in order to make a Google Map search. Then the next thing that we have to do is to go to this website over here to find the coordinates of the point that we want to scrape, okay? So we're going to go over here, and then for example we're going to add Maya, okay? So we're going to get the GPA's coordinate, and then with these GPA's coordinates that we have over here, that I'm going to copy them and we're going to include it here, and then the longitude is this one over here, okay? So then we have to complete the other parameters that we have in this request. So as you can see, there is also zoom that we are going to put it to the minimum, that is going to be 1, and there is going to be also the parameter limit that in this case we're going to put it to the maximum, that is 500. Then we're going to have two other parameters, that is going to be the language that we are going to do the query, that in this case is going to be English, and also the region that we are going to do the query from, okay, that in this case is going to be US. But if you want to do the query in other language or from other region, what you need to do is to go to this link over here and then basically write the country code that is corresponding to your use case. So now we're going to go back to Rapid API, and here you are going to see that there is another two parameters that we're going to need to use. The first one is going to be this extract emails and contacts, that we're going to set it as true, and then here we're going to have this parameter that is fields, where basically we're going to write all the fields that we want in the response, okay? And the fields that we're going to want in the response in this case are going to be these ones over here, okay? But if you actually want to have other fields, you can basically personalize it as you wish. So I'm going to include them here in fields, and then the last thing that I'm going to do is to basically change the query that I actually forgot about it. So it's going to be plumber, okay? So now we're going to test the endpoint and we're going to see the example response, okay? So we're going to click on test endpoint, and when we click on test endpoint, what is going to happen is that we're going to go to that specific location in Miami and we're going to see all the plumbers that are in the city. So we're going to click here on test endpoint, and then here we're going to have our results in a couple of seconds because our limit is 500 and it's going to take a bit. And as you can see, we have scraped a total of 196 items, as you can see here. And then we basically have obtained the fields that we said before. There are name, city, type, emails and contacts, and also the about, that is the description of the business. So what we're going to do here is not to check any of these records that we have over here, and then basically we are going to copy the whole response, okay? Because then we're going to go to this website over here, and then we're going to convert the JSON response into a CSV file, okay? So what we're going to do is to basically paste the data here, and then we're going to click here in convert JSON to CSV. So we're going to click here. So we're going to go here to the bottom of the page, and basically we're going to click here in download results, okay? So we're going to click here, and as you can see, we have downloaded this CSV over here, okay? So convert CSV, and in this case the number 3 that we have, okay? So the next step that we're going to do is to go to Airtable and to create our database, okay? We'll here create from scratch, and then name it, for example, contact email, okay? So I'm going to name it, and then the next step that I'm going to do is to import a new table, okay? So basically I'm going to go here to CSV file, and then I'm going to browse the file, and it's going to be this one that I've just downloaded, okay? So I'm going to map everything, and I'm going to upload everything over here. I'm going to click in upload file, and as you can see, the data is going to be loading, okay? So we're going to click in create a new table, and then we're going to click in import. So we're importing the new data, and then here we're going to have all the different data, okay? So once we have all the different data, what we're going to do is to create a different view, okay? A view that we are going to filter only those records and only those results that actually have an email available. Because maybe some of the records that we have don't have the email available. For example, this first record that we have here don't have the email available, okay? So what we're going to do is to duplicate this view, and we're going to create a new one, okay? So we're going to call it email available. And now here we're going to filter, where basically email, this one, emails underscore contacts, and then email 0 basically is not empty, and this means that the email basically exists. And as you can see, we have got a total of 119 records that basically we have all of them over here, okay? And what we're going to do now is to download all this data, and for that basically we're going to go to this arrow that we have over here, okay? So we're going to click here, and then we're going to click here in downloads CSV, okay? So the CSV is being downloaded, and as you can see, the CSV just got downloaded here with imported table email available, okay? And now that we already have this view with the emails available, what we're going to do is to go to the latest step, that is going to be basically create the make a scenario. And there is going to be two options here. The first option, where basically we're going to use only the variables to write the emails, and then the second option, and then if we want to go one step further, we're going to be able to personalize the emails with AI, okay? So let's go to this scenario. And the scenario that we're going to create is going to be this one, okay? The first module is going to be an Airtable What's Records module, and what we need to do here is to go here and click on Add in order to create a new connection with Airtable, and we're going to create it with Airtable authentication. So it's going to be, for example, 02 of October, okay? Email contacts. And now we're going to look for the database that we just have created, that is going to be contact email, and we're going to grant the access, okay? So we're going to click here, and now the connection is going to be created, okay? So we have our connection already, and now basically we just have to map the table, that is this one that we are going to have over here. This is another one that I created, that is going to be this contact underscore email, okay? And it's super important that you actually map your base and your table properly, okay? Because if not, it's not going to work. And then here we need to map the other imported table that we have over here, that is basically this one, okay? This one is the same name, but indeed is another table that has another table ID, okay? So we need to do imported table, okay? And then the next thing that we actually have to do here is to create a trigger field, okay? And even if you are seeing one here, it doesn't mean that it exists, because it existed in the previous connection that we had. So basically we need to go to the table. So we are going to write created at, okay? And then we're going to click in create field, okay? So we're going to click in create the field, and then here we're going to refresh, and then we're going to find the other created at field, okay? So we're going to select this one, and then we're going to refresh this one as well, okay? So we're going to see that there is going to be a lot of different fields, but in this case, the one that we're going to use, I guess, is going to be the Google ID or maybe the business ID. We can use both, actually. Then the next step that we need to do is to set up a limit, that in this case is going to be 500, and then also to map the view, okay? That in this case the name is the same, but the identifier of the view is actually different, so we need to remap it with this email available view that we have over here, okay? So we click over here, and then we click on OK. And something very important that I always recommend is to click on save in all the scenarios in make.com as soon as you make any small change, okay? And the next step that we're going to do now is to add this Outlook create and send module, okay? And indeed, if you want to use Gmail or any other service provider that have a connection available, you can use it perfectly, okay? But in my case, I'm using Outlook, and for me it's just the easiest, okay? So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to create a new connection, okay? So I'm going to name it here contact email 02 of October, And then basically I'm going to select the email that I actually want, okay? So in this case, I'm going to have a couple of them. And as you can see, the email that I had open was mapped automatically, okay? In case that you have multiple emails, I guess that you just need to select the right one, okay? So what we're going to do here is to basically write the subject, this variable over here, that is the name, that is basically the name of the business, and then this question mark. So basically we do a bit of clickbaiting, okay? Then it's also very important that we actually click here in show advanced settings, and then in the body content, the email that I came up with was basically this one, okay? So it's a name of the business, team, we help this type of businesses, that in this case it can be restaurant or it can be plumbers or whatever, and what I'm going to do is to add here an S, to attract more clients by improving their rankings or search engines and Google Maps. We help other companies like yours in the city, that in this case was Miami. Would you be open to a quick chat? And then best, Borja, okay? Then the recipient email address is going to be the email contact that we have scraped over here. So basically we just have to write here email and then select this variable that we have here, that is emails underscore and underscore contacts and then emails 0, okay? So as you can see, it's this one that we have over here. And then the only thing that we need to do is to click here on OK and then turn on the scenario, okay? Then it's also very important that we click over here and then we choose where to start, okay? Because for example, we need to select in this case a specific date that is going to be yesterday, for example, because we added today the records, okay? But once we select the specific date and then once we activate the scenario, every time that we add new records, to those new records we're going to be sending this email completely automatically. But anyway, I recommend that you don't add too many records at once, because if you do so, we're going to send maybe 50, 100, 150 emails at once, and probably what is going to happen is that our deliverability is going to be decreased, okay? So I don't actually recommend to you to add more than 30, 40, or maybe even 50 records daily, okay? 50 contacts. And then the second version that we actually have here is this one that we have over here, okay? So what I'm going to do is to connect this one and delete this module that we have here, okay? And then I'm going to auto-align it. So what we're going to be doing here is basically to use this OpenAI create a completion model, that is basically this one that we have over here. And then we're going to use this model that is GPT-4o, the version of 6th of August. And then we're going to send two messages. The first one is going to be this system message, that is, you are an expert in B2B email lead generation specialized in local businesses. That is the case that we are doing. For example, something that we can add here is as specialized in plumber businesses, okay? And then the second message that we have over here, that is create a 30 to 40 word outreach message for a plumber type of business name whatever, okay? Then we can also make reference to the city and to the description of the actual business. And last, we also send these other three conditions that basically make the email more credible and don't make it sound like AI, okay? And then the last step that we have to do is in the body content, instead of writing the text that we had before, and remember the body content type is still text, what we're going to do is to select the result from the previous model over here, okay? Then the rest is exactly the same. So we just have to click on OK and then switch on the scenario. But remember to not add many records and contacts at the same time, because if not, your email is going to be flagged as a spam probably, okay? So remember to not do that. And by the way, guys, if you want to learn AI and automations like this one to generate leads or any other purpose, just take a look to the link in the description where you can access to my community, where you have tons of free and premium automation templates that are going to help you to automate your business. And if you have some specific project in mind, just book a call and let's talk about it.